Okay, everybody, welcome to round 2 of my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. So we're advancing time here, and we do get a notification from the durability department as they have been working flat out to try and ensure that parts are working, and they want to know if we can throw a party to increase the morale, which I've said, of course I can. I'm not a slave driver, you know. I'll throw the damn party myself. Also, this is where we introduce the quick practice option from the laptop, which, well, I don't even know if it is a laptop anymore, but moving on. It's basically where you can run the programs from there rather than having to go out and do them yourself, which obviously saves a lot of time grafting on circuit. I probably could do with the practice, to be honest, but I just wanted to show you guys this new feature, which I think is quite cool. Anyway, on to qualifying. We're about to start a lap, and that happens. We've just randomly dropped it. I feel like this race is going to be a bit of a reality check for us, because obviously we had that very much fairy tale beginning in Bahrain, which I can't deny we were very, very fortunate to have. You know, a lot of circumstances just fell into place for us, and we ended up finishing much higher than I think we should have. So I feel like this race is going to be a bit of a reality check for us. But, so the first qualifying lap, it wasn't great, and we were slower than Russell, and as you can see, Mazepin and Latifi have gone quicker than us, so we are very much at risk here unless we can find some pace. So that is what I'm trying to do right now. I'm pushing for all my life's worth to try and get what I can out of this car and try and get ourselves that bit closer to being safe. So we've gained a good few tenths on this lap, and this is still our first set of tyres, I might add. So the fact that we've managed to do that on the second lap on the first set of tyres, that's pretty good. We found another chunk of time there. That puts us 16th, so we're still at risk. So I've gone again, gained another few tenths, just nailed the lap together, and it's only P15 at that point. And in the end, it just wasn't enough. So we end up P18 and crashing back to reality, like I said, after the fairy tale. That was Bahrain. But there's little that can be done about that.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the rundown into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Norris, Max Verstappen and Ricciardo, Leclerc, Sainz, Vettel and Pierre Gasly, Stroll, Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso and Raikkonen, Mick Schumacher, Joker, George Russell and Artem Markelov, Mazepin, Latifi, Ocon. They've taken a grid penalty, and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Right, it is time for the Spanish Grand Prix, the second race of our season. We're on the grid. What can we do from here? It's lights out and away we go, and Schumacher just doesn't get off the line very well at all. So that's a shame for him. But look at Markelov on my left. He has just got an absolute launch off the line there as we head into the first corner. And we were trying to have a look on the inside, but there just wasn't anywhere to go. And obviously the one thing I've done differently this season to what I've done before is I'm now running simulation damage. Instead of running it on reduced, which I normally do, I am running simulation damage. And I tell you what, it has stopped me doing things like going full send and, you know, doing these ridiculous overtakes that just wouldn't work. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of forced me into trying to race a bit more properly and a bit more cleanly, because I know that on 2020 people were suggesting that my overtakes were questionable. Anyway, we're still right behind our teammate Markelov, who's just got an absolute launch off the line, like I said. But we're going to try and have a look up the inside here while everyone's not got great momentum. Markelov's still on my left, nearly losing it on the curb there. But no, we've got the position as we nearly lose it again. I am still struggling with the handling model of this new game, I'm not going to lie. And at this point, you know, we're just settling into the race, trying to catch Kimi Räikkönen, who's ahead. But yeah, like I said, this has just been a bit more of a reality check now. This is probably more roundabouts where we were. Also, if you noticed at the beginning when we were advancing time, we did have a couple of upgrades that failed on us, and we dropped down the performance ladder. We were, I think it was like 7th or 8th quickest team in Bahrain, and now we're like 9th. So yeah, that's not brilliant news to start with, but we'll keep upgrading, we'll keep pushing, and we'll see where we end up in a few races. But right now what we're doing is just sticking with Räikkönen, trying to get the run on him into turn 1, and that is exactly what we've got. We've got overtake enabled. We're going to now have a look around the outside because Kimi has covered the inside, and we've just managed to do him straight around the outside. That's a relatively good overtake. I'm proud of that one. But we don't have time to get complacent because that was only for 14th place, and we want to try and advance further. So now we've caught this jostling pack of Stroll, Alonso and Tsunoda, but Stroll's just dived into the pits, and he seemed to be quite slow, so I don't know if Stroll had some kind of wing damage or not, but we'll never know now. Right, we're now watching Tsunoda and Alonso going head to head. I'm just trying to not get caught up in this. Tsunoda's on the very inside, and we've hit the curb and we've gone round! Oh no! We have gone completely round. Somehow we've caught Räikkönen, and that's a 5-second penalty for us, which if we did, fair enough. But I didn't really feel a touch. Alright, let's have a look. From that angle, I wasn't really sure we touched him from that angle, but if we ride on board with Kimi, there you go, you see a spin. Yeah, there's almost a definite touch there. That was very much a Grosjean-esque spin there. But, yeah, so Räikkönen definitely felt a touch and went off, so that's a fair penalty, that, but we just got completely caught out by that curb and round it went. Like, there was nothing I could have done from that moment to stop it going round. So now we've got a bit of a recovery drive to do, and you can tell just from that the frustration is kicking in. I'm really kicking myself for that one, because we were catching on to Alonso and Tsunoda, and I felt like we could have been in the outside chance of a point or two, but now we're kind of really in the thick of it at the back of the midfield, and we're starting to get the 2 stoppers coming in now as Ricciardo just comes out and blocks me off there and blocks my access to Mazepin, which was quite frustrating because I really wanted to get past Mazepin as soon as possible. But actually you're going to watch a stunning overtake from Ricciardo there around the outside, and that was actually a great overtake from Ricciardo. I'm not going to take that one away from him. But we're now right up Mazepin's chuff. I don't even want to think about that. And we're now going to have a look up the inside. Mazepin covers, go to the left. We're almost off the circuit. Sainz's Ferrari comes out, and I think that kind of blocked his momentum a little bit. And we are now up into that place. Meanwhile, here's an Alfa Romeo just having a random moment. I'm not sure. What did he do? What happened there? I think that was Giovinazzi. I want to say that was Giovinazzi, but he just seemed to have his own random moment, and he just spun. So that's the first time I've seen an AI fully spin it like that. I know we had, I think it was Leclerc at Zandvoort in Season 1 of my first career mode, but didn't lose it completely like that. So that's a random one. So we are seeing AI drivers make mistakes, which is a great touch onto the games, because it's more realistic. You know, IRL, all the drivers will make some kind of mistake, and we're now really starting to get in a traffic jam between the one stoppers and the two stoppers, but I'm really struggling to advance on it because we just don't have the straight line speed, and I'm not getting the traction out the corners. We've gone wide there. That's going to allow Charles Leclerc on my right, but I cover him off, and that's a McLaren spinning, and that is Daniel Ricciardo that has gone round. And for the second time this race, an AI driver has just had a very random moment all of their own accord. Look at that traffic jam. It's like the M25 on a quiet day. Anyway, there goes Daniel Ricciardo just having his own spin, and at this point we haven't been able to advance further, and that 5-second penalty really putting pay to us being able to advance, at least for the foreseeable future.
Go, go, go. You'll be racing on the exit. Complete, go now. That was our last
But
stop.
we are now leaving the pit lane, and we're going to see what we can do. And that is Nicholas Latifi coming out in front of us, and I am going to now go for this ballsy overtake round the outside of 2 and down the inside of the sweeper of 3, and that is probably one of the ballsiest overtakes I've ever gone for. But what makes it kind of tragic is that it was a move for 20th. I don't think I've ever got my elbows out in such a fashion for P20. It's going to take more than getting elbows out, however, to save Sebastian Vettel. That car is done for the day. His engine has let go, so that's bad luck for him. He's having no luck so far. Obviously, he went into the stricken Verstappen at Bahrain, and now this. So, well, Verstappen went into Tsunoda and Vettel went into him, so yeah. Vettel's having no luck this season. Now we're back with Nikita Mazepin again, and I'm not going to lie, I'm getting really sick of the sight of the rear of Mazepin's car, and I just want to get past him, you know, but every time I always seem to end up behind Mazepin, so we're now going to try and get a run on him here, because I don't think it's going to be into 1, because we just don't seem to be getting the traction necessary. But however, we've got a good run here. I'm going to just send it straight up the inside, and we have got past him. And I think a little bit of contact there, but we got the move done. Mazepin pitted anyway. Bottas now lapping me on lap 23. That made my heart sink. That really made my heart sink, and especially after the spin and everything else, you know, I can't help but think at this stage, you know, what might have been. We may have really, like I said, had a chance to knock on the door of a point, but right now we're fighting Raikkonen for P17, and we've gone down the inside, but we've overshot. Raikkonen has now got me back, so I'm going to try and do a cheeky little up and under here. It looks like it's working. Raikkonen not really giving me any space, but we use the space we've got and a bit more off the circuit to complete the move for P17. And one thing that isn't going to be complete is Sergio Perez's race, because he is now retiring with some kind of, I think, electronic problem, because there's no smoke coming out of the car. So that's going to be to do with the electronics. It's some kind of mechanical failure. Anyway, we're now catching Stroll, Schumacher and co in front of us just little by little. So I'm kind of hoping, you know what, last couple of laps, maybe we can have a battle. But now Raikkonen's coming up my inside. He's got the move done. And then he just randomly brakes in the middle of the corner. Kimi. What was that? He passed us. And then as we got into the middle of the corner, he just braked again, and I wasn't expecting him to do that, and I went into him. And that was, yeah, so we took front wing damage for that, which we had to pit for, because I would not have been able to hold position without a new front wing. And would you believe it, once again, we are behind Mazepin. This is just a race-long battle with Nikita Mazepin at this point, who defends very late and doesn't make it clear where he's going. We've now completed the move half off the circuit, but he's now come back down the inside there. We're going to up and under him, and this is quite an intense scrap now that we are having with the Haas of Nikita Mazepin. But we've got the move done. Mazepin again trying to come back on me, but I'm shutting that straight down. Mate, the day I've had, do not even bother. Do not bother for 1 second. That race was a disaster. I'm sorry, guys. I'm very sorry that I couldn't do more with that one.
They've done it then. A spectacular victory here in Spain and a massive confidence boost going into the next race. And talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
I just don't have the words for that race, and I do apologise again for it being quite a shoddy race. Yeah, the race pace overall at the beginning, you know, we didn't look too shabby. I reckon we could have been knocking on the door of a point with the overall pace we were running, as we were catching the Alonso Tsunoda scrap, and we were just with them, and we could have got ahead of the big scrap of the 1 and 2 stoppers, but eventually we'll never know now. We'll never know. But it's frustrating because I feel like we could have got a bit more from that race. But obviously that spin paid to that, and then obviously the penalty we got. So it all kind of added up there. But these races sometimes happen, and we're just going to have to move on to the next one and try and have a stronger performance. But Bottas won that race comfortably over Hamilton. Then it was Norris, Tsunoda got 4th in the end, then it was Verstappen, Alonso taking a great result in his home race, Leclerc, Sainz, Ricciardo and Gasly rounding out the points, and our teammate actually had quite a good race to finish 13th, so I'm quite proud of Markelov for that. Russell then got 14th, Mick Schumacher got 15th, and we were nowhere at the end of that race, and we were behind Giovinazzi, who spun and had his own moment. So, but there we got P19, and the standings. Hamilton still leads, but by a solitary point over Bottas. Norris is 3rd and knocking on the door of the pair of them. Then it's Ricciardo. Tsunoda's taken a jump to 5th with his superb result. Then it's Perez, Verstappen, really struggling at the start of this season. And we've slipped down to 6th in the Constructors, obviously as a result of scoring no points. Like I said, it's a bit of a reality check, but I'm going to leave you with the race highlights. Thank you so much for watching. Please join me again when I play My Team Career Mode.